All right, well, this is how President Trump showed up at the NATO summit today, letting everyone know what his priorities are. Here he steps off the plane in Europe and he puts on his USA hat. This is how he's going to meet with NATO leaders to tell them, we are not paying for your security anymore. We want you to pay up or else. I'm not quite sure what that or else means. I hope it's big.
I hope it closes down NATO altogether.
I really do want that, but I've been wanting that for a long time. And as a parent, I don't like empty threats. If you say you're going to take away the screen time, you got to. Am I right? Well, in fact, the president is reportedly not even going to go to the NATO meetings, but just show up at the dinners and then let the rest of them kind of come to him. Now, the president and the vice president have been telling NATO members that they need to commit to spending 5% of their country's GDP to NATO. And we want to see you put your money where your mouth is. But NATO leaders are trying to be super shady about this. And I hope that the president can see right through this. Now, the president posted this on Truth Social today after Spain said that they would only pay 2.5% into NATO. This chart shows how little everyone else spends compared to the U.S. Very few of them even hit 2%. How did Poland get so screwed to be spending so much all along when the rest of them are just kind of flying under the radar, not paying their fair share? Why don't they get the youngest child deal, I wonder? The UK says that they will increase their NATO spending, but they're doing it just with tricky bookkeeping. They're not actually going to commit more defense. What they're doing is called smoke and mirrors, according to the Telegraph. They're not actually going to put any new money in. What Keir Starmer is doing is counting old infrastructure projects and calling them new defense spending, which is a ruse. So if you are buying this BS line that the UK needs more defense and will spend more, you're going to get nothing for that except for old projects. It's a journal entry. They're not actually going to spend more money. Opponents of this say you can't stop missiles with spreadsheets. You're not actually doing anything new. Do you think President Trump will not see right through this? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna basically, someone says, well, how much are you spending on your kids' tuition? And you're like, well, I bought them school clothes last year. So does that count? That counts into what I'm committing? Absolutely not. Spain says they're not going to come up to this 5%, full stop. They say that NATO's pledge allows each country level flexibility. So they say our level is 2.1%. That's what we want to pay, and that's what we're sticking with. Now, what they say is that they can't afford more defense because it would cause them to cut social programs, which should piss you as an American right off, because what they get in Spain, they're saying, we want to keep giving our people free healthcare, early retirement, 35-hour work week. Americans don't get that. We want to keep doing that, which means we can't pay into our defense. So we as Americans will keep paying for their military and they will keep having a cushy life. Now, I feel this acutely, having lived for 5 years on the Iberian Peninsula, treating like this gauche American. We get disrespected, but our tax dollars subsidize their good lifestyle. Like, we as Americans don't know the good life. Well, no, because we work harder to support your good life. Michael Schellenberger put it this way recently, and I feel this in my bones. Watch.
We go to Europe. You have universal health care. You work 35 hours a week. You retire at a young age. You don't work nearly as hard as we do in the United States. You have many more benefits, in large part because we pay for all of your security, or a large part of it. And in return, we just get disrespect, entitlement, like we're like your children, and this is a dysfunctional relationship. It needs to end. It needs to change.
Okay, so is this summit where President Trump makes this change and says to Europeans, you don't get this cush life because we pay your military anymore? Or will he be hoodwinked by these journal entry type things? Now, here's how these spoiled brats are going to try to convince the president that our support is absolutely necessary. It's war emergency. NATO leader Mark Rutte keeps screaming that the Russians are coming, but he can't exactly say why or when. Here is today EU Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen saying that they are already at war with Russia. So that's why it's absolutely necessary to beef up all of their military spending on our dollar. Here is her absolute lying, ugly face. Watch.
You're adapting to the new reality of a full-scale war right here on European soil. And just like your industry, all of Europe is facing a changing international landscape. But in recent months, Europe has taken action. Action that seemed unthinkable just a year ago. We set up the Rearm Europe plan to mobilize indeed 650 billion euros in defense investment over the next 4 years. We must build more bridges between civilian and military. We know that Russia will be capable of testing our mutual defense commitments within the next 5 years. I thank you for this opportunity to engage with you. Long live Europe, and thank you very much.
I mean, I'm just telling you, Russia's coming for you in the next 5 years. Thanks, everybody. This has been great.
And I'm so glad to see all my European allies here who are getting ready for Putin's invasion of Europe. So, as one douchebag in the chat just said, he's like, Redacted is paid propaganda by Putin, Russian propagandists. Yeah, okay. That might have worked like 3 years ago.
So stupid. I'm not even going to be bothered with that dumb shit.
Retarded.
Yeah. She's obviously lying. Russian state media has put a limit on where this war ends. We've gone over this and over it and over again. You can refuse to see it if you want, but RIA's state media defines the war on that map right there. The dark gray is where this ends. They'd never said they wanted the rest of Ukraine. They never said they wanted Europe. Why the heck would Russia want these countries full of spoiled brats? I'm not saying you Europeans, you have no power. Europeans themselves, lovely people, they have no power. Their government has a government that makes decisions to basically make their lives miserable. You know it and I know it. No European thinks the EU makes their lives better. I don't know anyone who would. Okay, and then speaking of spoiled brats, again, not Europeans, European leaders. Zelensky is not going to be in the NATO summit meetings, but he does get to go to the dinner and pose for photo ops. What he's saying here basically is a lot of crap. NATO's still behind him. We're still going to sanction Russia, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's not even really in the room where it happened. He's just literally like waiting in the hallway for his photo op, says some strong things about Russia, and then he's out. And on the plane to this NATO summit, President Trump was asked if he's still trying to broker a deal between Russia and Ukraine. He said, absolutely, yes, I would like Putin to come to the negotiation table. He says, Putin called to see if I'd like help with Iran. And I was like, no, I got it. Don't need your help there, but I need you to, get a deal done with Ukraine. So Zelensky, who? So again, we're going to see a lot more posturing and dumb stuff out of this NATO summit. We hope, though, that President Trump shows up with that boss energy and tells them, you need to pay up or we're out. Otherwise, you deal with this Russia stuff yourself. Also, Russia's not coming. Work yourself into a tizzy. All you want, we're out. That's what I would like to see if the president is watching.
So that's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is tied directly in everything we just talked about, and an acutely important topic right now, and that is how the United States of America is currently making sure that its national security isn't compromised when it comes to the very basics of our economy. So there are many moving parts that I'm tracking closely, especially from trade, US dollar collapse, and my focus, though, is on materials, the bedrock right now of our economy, and I want to share with you some critical data in my view. The United States is going to find it hard to compete in the era of America First, where Trump's top priority isn't to help other countries, but to rebuild America's industries after this shameful globalist period, if we don't secure mining of this strategic metal. That's why President Trump has signed executive orders, historic executive orders, to protect copper production and mining on U.S. soil. Copper is often called the new oil. It's at the heart of America's future, and I couldn't be more bullish about it, especially when it's coupled with gold. So copper demand right now is surging while supply struggling to keep pace. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am a full 10 on domestic U.S. copper production. You know that. I've been talking about it for years here on the show. So that's where this basic and common sense supply and demand comes into my bullish thesis. Global mine production is expected to peak in 2026. Underinvestment in new mines has created a massive supply crunch. The United States and China trade war has disrupted global copper supply chains in a big way. So we're in desperate need right now of copper mining on U.S. soil.
American industries depend on copper, and they should be made in America. No exemptions, no exceptions. America first creates American jobs and protects our national security. It's time for copper to come home.
So Giant Mining is the sponsor of today's video. Here is their ticker on your screen. Check this out. Not only does it own a copper, silver, gold project in Nevada, but it also just recorded the best ever drill intercepts in September of 2024 and additional great results just in the past few weeks. That's why I wanted to share this with you today. This company is the only copper company that I'm bullish on right now. It's currently trading for just 16 cents a share. That's the same price as of January 2nd, before Trump came into office and revived the American copper industry. On February 14th, Executive Order 14213 was issued and implicitly prioritizes copper as a critical resource. And Nevada, where Giant Mining's copper project is situated, has constantly ranked among the top mining jurisdictions in the world, which is why I'm bringing this company to your attention today. Now, the share price is down 54% since early February due to market turmoil. So I'm highlighting the company to you today for a reason. Giant Mining owns the Mujaba Hill Copper Project, which is a past-producing mine. In the past 4 years, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposit, and this past September, Giant Mining hit their best ever drill hole. So the 2025 results are right now on your screen. Take a look at this, and look at these latest mineralizations of copper that they found. Now take a look at your screen right now. I'm going to actually leave this up here for a few seconds so you can look at it. These are the highlights of the 2025 drill program. And David Greenway, the CEO of Giant Mining, commented on these that Nevada continues to prove itself as a world-class mining jurisdiction, ideally positioned to support the America First policy and bolster domestic resource security. With global copper demand soaring, Mujaba Hill offers a compelling homegrown solution to help meet America's significant and growing consumption of copper, end quote. But I've saved the best for last because the drill hole, MHB-34, had David Greenway, the company's CEO, saying the following: "In my entire career, I've never seen drill core like this. It's truly extraordinary. When we began drilling the MHB-34, we had high expectations, but what we encountered exceeded them all. In my entire career, I've never seen drill core like this. The presence of visible native copper beyond 1,850 feet is a powerful indicator of the scale and the strength of the mineralized system at Mujaba Hill. This hole reinforces our belief that Mujaba Hill is evolving into a world-class copper, silver, and gold discovery," end quote. Those are his words. I will say this again, all of these factors and the following ones are the ones that led me to my bullish opinion about Giant Mining. The infrastructure is ready, access roads, power supply, transportation, they have a water supply, they have ore stockpiles, and they have the processing space right there. They have a processing plant. So guys, do your own homework on Giant Mining. Here is their ticker on your screen once again, and we'll see you next time.